so people. I just want people to understand what it's like as a pro sportsman, because they'll say, "Oh, COVID's here. Oh, you didn't get enough runs. That's why I didn't."
Yeah.
But that's not the case. It's how did you feel mentally going into the summer?
Yeah, well, I think firstly, there's a few things to get into before we even get into the summer. So actually, if you'd say that I had an okay 2019 is very generous. I had a really poor 2019.
Is that a Red Bull?
I had a couple of knocks in white ball that were good. My Red Bull year was awful last year, and what we were talking about earlier about tinkering, changing a lot, I had a different technique every game because I thought my technique wasn't working, and actually it's to do with your headspace. But anyway, so to give some clarity, I came off I had 2018.
Let's start from 2018.
Yes, so 2018.
So January 2018.
Worked with Mike Yarding all winter.
Okay.
Awesome. Played really well. Like my proper first year in the first team. Played well. I think I was the second leading run scorer in the 4-day stuff. Was the leading run scorer in the 50 over team. Played 2 games in the T20. I mean, Sussex's T20 is a joke. Like, it's a franchise team. So without being arrogant, I'd like to think I would have played more T20s if I was at another county. But to carry the drinks for that years, it's hard work, but it's also a bit like, I just would love to be playing again.
Yeah.
Because the team's awesome. Anyways, I played a couple of games there and actually played really well, which was really pleasing. I've come off a really good year in 2018. Probably, it was slightly disappointing not to have maybe got an award.
Do you feel like things have started clicking for you?
I guess so. I certainly worked really hard that winter again, but looking back at it now again, probably did too much technical stuff over the winter rather than actually trying to develop certain shots and stuff, which then led to a bit of a downfall in 2019. And of course, it is all down to me, but I struggled not having Yards around. Yards ended up being the second team coach, and not that we lost that relationship. We've always had an awesome relationship, but he wasn't around as much. So didn't have that sort of face-to-face contact, and then I did really struggle. Got dropped from the 50 over team, whether that was rightly or wrongly. My eyes obviously thought it was wrong, and I thought my record that I had behind me deserved enough to play more games, and I also hadn't done exactly that badly. So that felt hard done by, and if I'm honest, I didn't really get over that. And if I had my time again, I would have handled that a lot better, because I'm not proud of the way I did handle it, especially on the day. I moped around a bit and should have been a much better team bloke. But I was very disappointed and hurt. But then didn't really recover from that. Fed into my 4-day stuff. Because it actually started okay in the 4-day stuff, and then it fed into my 4-day stuff, and I was absolutely nowhere. Then got dropped from that. And then I probably had the worst week ever of my cricket life, where I got my big recall back to the team because we had a few injuries. So we had a 4-day game first, and then a T20 game in TD against Essex.
Right.
And I have bigged this week up like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, this is my chance. Gladiator, come on, let's have it. This is my chance. We played the 4-day game against Middlesex. I get a pair.
Oh, man.
Get a pair. I remember I got a seed off one of the bowlers. I think Mercer nicked me off the shoulder. First innings, sort of thought, I can't do about that. Fine.
Next innings,
I'm fine. Boof.
LW.
I think so, I can't remember. But I'm gone here at this point. Pair, gone. Anyway, I know I'm playing. I got told I was going to be playing the next 2 T20 games. I think Dell had gone and played for Bermuda, so I was going to play in about 6. I'm like, awesome, cool, got a chance. So I'm playing S6. I fielded nicely, did the first game. I'm a good fielder, so I'm always good field well. I fielded well. We're in some strife, randomly. We're 60 off the 4, and I come out. And for some reason, first of all, I tried to reverse sweep Palmer. He had 1 point mid-wicket, and I thought, well, it's my shot. I should play it. Absolute nonsense. But you've got to understand, the context. My head's gone at this point. As in, I'm not thinking clearly, because if you're thinking clearly, we're in the shit, really. We're 64. We just need a partnership, and I'm batting with David
How many
Visa.
years did he have to bat as well?
Oh, plenty. 10 probably.
So you knock it around 3 or 4 years.
Exactly. And you've also got David Visa, who people listening will know exactly. Awesome T20 player. Tease it up. My job is to probably get 20 off 20 and give him the strike, basically. But I'm like, nah. Reverse sweep.
I'm showing you boys.
So I go down to reverse sweep it. Absolutely plumb. Missed it. Plumb. Out. Get a text off my dad. Look, that was worth staying up for. And then on TV, etc. But I remember, well, I'll be completely honest, I was in tears after the game. But I went and saw my mum who came to watch, and I just remember hugging her in tears. I was like, I'm gone here.
Is this at the ground?
Yeah, at the ground. Nobody saw it, but my mum was like, you need to get away, you need to sort yourself out, like, because something's not right here. And I remember just breaking down with her, and I was like...
But that's the brutality of sport.
Yeah, but that shows you where I was at mentally, because I'm not thinking clearly about anything, and then all emotions start coming out. So I was talking to her, and then I knew I was done. And then we go to the next game, and I'd been told I was going to play the 2 games, but I'm like, there's no way. Like, thinking about being a coach now, there's no way you should be picking this guy. This guy's gone. Like, it's obviously brutality of sport, not playing the next game, and they played somebody else instead.
Did they take you with you?
Took me with me, so I went on the bus.
It's even worse. Sometimes.
Even worse at the time, which I'm not blaming them at all, because there's no way I should be playing, like, especially after the week I had. But going back to it, I just brought the week up, built it up way too much, and just everything was on that week. I've got to do well this week, and then when you don't do well, I just went poof and crashed. And I reckon I had a month where I was just a bit nowhere. Anyway, I come to the back end of that season. This is the 2019 season, and I'm in the 2s. And suddenly, I just let go of everything. I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just going to go
Remember you calling me and you like got 150 or something?
Oh no, I think I scored 200 in a row, was 70 odd, and then got a double under, got 220 odd. So I finished the season really strongly. Which was a silver lining on a really poor year, but I sort of thought, oh, there's something there. Whatever I did in the last month and a half.
Did you find something click maybe?
Yeah, mentally clicked. Mentally, that's when I learned, right, I need to get away from the game. There's a few things I need to focus on. I can't be thinking too technically. I need to be more...
So those highs of 2000, so I put it in a nutshell for people.
Yeah.
So you had those highs of 2018, doing well. 2019, okay year.
Yeah.
But then you had a month snippet at the end.
Yeah.
Where you feel like you got your breakthrough of how you can combine 2018 season into an okay 2019 season to make you a better player 2019.
Yeah, and obviously you're playing a standard less, so obviously look, I didn't read into the scores that much because I know I've dominated that level before and I know I could do it again. But I was really sort of, it opened my eyes at the consistency of it, and I basically just looked at. I then took that into, so now we're moving to the winter just gone. So I then put myself in a really, because I signed a 2-year contract in 2018, had an awful year 2019. I'm then massively under the pump for the year that's just gone because obviously I performed poorly, and that's just the way sport is when you're contracted and not on long-term deals and stuff.
It's not like football, you're fighting.
No, it's not like that. You're 2 years, and if you don't do well, you're gone. Thanks for coming. Like that's how ruthless it is.
It's not like you're 50 grand.
No, exactly. So. We go into the winter, and I don't think I've worked as hard as I have done that winter. And for the first time ever, didn't work on anything technically over the winter. Just focus on game plan, focus on what I want to get better at, focus on process, which is the most important thing. So that's when I worked out in that month bit in the season what a process is and what it is for me. And I weirdly quite like singing when I'm back. And it's just a way of people talk about breathing, talk about singing, talk about picking spots and looking at things. It's the best thing Ross Taylor ever told me. He said when he bats at Lords, he looks up at the clock in between balls and he just focuses on the clock and watches it go round. And that keeps him in the present moment and keeps him safe. It's one of the best things I ever got told.
Interesting.
And then I found that singing helps massively. I know for me, my process was my head back to the stumps and an early base. But then I worked so hard that winter, lost 10 kilos or something.
Wow.
Yeah, October I went to France and Italy. And I let myself go a little bit.
Nice.
And then came back and lost 10 kilos up to the summer. Worked really hard all winter. We went to Cape Town. You've got to understand at this point as well, I'm under the pump a little bit.
You're in a good place.
I'm in a really good place, but I've got to perform. Dizzy hasn't seen me all winter because he's away in Australia. And I went out to Cape Town in pre-season and I played really well. Like we did loads and loads of middle practices, and I was a stand-up batter. I played really well. I was the most consistent. I scored the most runs. I was a stand-up batter, and I even started bowling again. I was bowling okay. I was feeling, and also correspondingly, felt in a really happy place. Like off the pitch, I was really calm and settled. Started talking up more in the group because you naturally feel more confident. And then COVID happened. Obviously, while we were out in Cape Town, which then suddenly your anxiety levels start to go through the roof because you're like, well, when the hell are we going to be back? What's the season going to look like? Are we going to have a season? Are they going to sign us? Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. So that lockdown period was probably tough because I'd worked so hard throughout the winter, and was you know it's like when, and guys know it's like when you get in the zone of cricket and you just keep rolling over, you get so used to the pattern of it. it's really hard to then. No one hit for 14 weeks.
Yeah,
so you're suddenly in such a good place, and then not hitting for that long. And then we came back to training, and I picked up where I left off. I was playing really nicely.
But during that lockdown period, you stayed present, you did your running.
Yeah, no, well, I just did everything you possibly can. You stay professional, and you basically just stay fit and get ready to go.
So how was the pressure then going into those 6 games?
Yeah, so then obviously I know it's a long-winded story of what the last few has been like. But when I would go into tough. First game, I was absolutely nowhere. I'd probably just been told not that long before that about a certain situation at the club, without getting too far into it. But I'd been told, so it was very hard going into that first game, knowing there's probably a good chance of not getting signed by Sussex.
They said this.
Well, they said it, which they sort of said it, and it's.
That stuff is a prior thing.
Yeah, but also like that's they're only doing their job. They've got to be honest and tell me what's happening. And I did. I mean, that first game I wasn't great. It was a bit nowhere. As in, it was on my mind too much. And then the next 3 games played really well because I sort of was like, well, you've got 2 ways of looking at this. You either give up or you go out there and you be positive and you actually try and get something out of this because you just never know something might happen. And then I played all right. And for me, I saw the summer. It's probably the most consistent I felt batting wise, and it was only a 2-month season, and I just got too many starts. I probably got 40 odd, I got a couple of 30s, and I got 2 60s, and ultimately if I turn one of those 30s into a 50 and one of those 60s into 100, I then suddenly had a pretty decent year. But yeah, the pressure of going into that year is tough, and especially when it's
anything you've ever faced it before?
No.
Completely new pressure.
New. Because I remember when I was in my last year, previously a few years back, I didn't feel under pressure because I just felt like they were going to sign me because I was still quite young. Whereas this summer, not at all. Like that, this summer was like, right, I've got to do something. Like, well, not that you always have to do something, but I think because the season was so short, it was like everything just got like intensified and. I handled some aspects of it really well, some aspects of it probably not so well. But it's really tough, and I'm not the only one. There's loads of guys around the county who have let. I mean, I think they normally lose between 30 and 40 players, and this year they lost 70.
Wow.
So which is a hell of a lot. So it's not look, and it's the way I see it. I don't see it as the end for me, and all I see it as a setback, and I see it as something to learn from. And actually, I've learned a hell of a lot the last 2 years, anyway. The main thing being that your mindset is the most important thing rather than your technique. Of course, as coaches we talk about, you do have to do the basics. You have to be able to hit the ball late, you have to be able to hit the ball straight, you have to play the back foot, the basics of the game. But once you get the basics, it's all about your mindset going to the next level. And as I said, it's just about staying positive about the situation. Like no one knows what's going to happen in the next few months. And no one knows what the game of cricket is going to look like in the next few months. So.
No one does, especially there's COVID to start next year.
Exactly, so you just don't know. But yeah, the pressure, I mean, going on back to your question, the pressure of that summer, yeah, it's tough. There's no 2 ways about it. But a part of you is also like, well, it's professional sports, is what the game is. It is pressure.
And I think on that as well, you've spoken really well here about the highs, the lows, coming through bad stages. And it's a shame now looking that you're not attached to them at the moment. I know you're in talks with a couple of counties, which is exciting, but you're not in a position at the moment to grow and ride that next wave. So although it's a setback, I think the upside potential of this is huge for you.
Well, that's I think regardless of what I do next, I think I'll probably be a success in it because you learn. You just got to constantly learn. I don't think there's any point in dwelling on stuff that's happened in the past. You just got to take from it what you can learn. Like, and I think even if I had still got signed this year by Sussex, it'd be silly for me to not reflect on the summer because there's stuff you can learn from it. But yeah, it's always as we're talking to you now. I've probably had 2.5 months of knowing this, so I've had time to reflect on it and
process it.
Yeah, and you process it, and you learn. I've learned a hell of a lot over the last few years. And as I'll go back to it again, as I said, it is so important what your mindset's like, and being the two most important things I've learned is that your mindset's important. You just got to be the best version of yourself. So whether you play club cricket, professional cricket, or you just play village cricket, you can't be trying to copy other people. Yes, you can watch other people talk to them about what they do, but do it in your way. Whereas I probably spent 2019, as I said, I went through five or six different techniques, and that's purely from watching other people and thinking, oh well, he does this, like I need to be able to do that. And actually, like, well, no, like you can sweep a seamer, I can sweep a seamer over square leg. There aren't many people that can do that. So just because he can dong it over the side screen, well, you can sweep it over square leg for six. So why don't you just be you? And it's just embracing that. And I remember seeing your locker. I think wasn't that one of your things you put in your locker. I think it was something about play your way.
Play your way.
I think.
I can't remember. But
yeah, I remember you had something around that.
Something like that. So on the locker.
Play your way, not anyone else's way.
Play how you want to play, not how you want you to play.
So
I think that's the great thing. And I think as a player and a coach, you've got to do things how you want to do, because some people won't like it, but some people will love it.
Yeah.
And I've never met a coach or a player that everyone likes and loves.
Yeah.
Some people have their opinions for some whatever reason. Some people like them for other reasons. So I think to wrap it up, it's been what you said there about one, mindset, and two, being the best version of yourself has been really good. I think everyone can relate. And yeah, it's been fantastic to chat to you.
Lovely, Matthew.
I'm very, very excited to watch your next step, wherever that may be, hopefully still in the professional game. And I wish you the best of luck, because you're far too talented to be out of the game for much longer. So Harry, thank you very much.